So it's starting recording. There we go. We are live.
We're live on Galactic Conversations.
Welcome back, everybody. As per usual, take what resonates, leave the rest.
Please leave the rest.
And we'll see where we go and flow today. It was good to see you yesterday, Justine.
Yeah, it was good to see you, Briggs. Been a while, hey?
Yeah, it's been a long time. I think almost through 3 years or something like that.
Yeah.
Time flies.
In the flesh. I mean, it seems like yesterday. I was at one of your ceremonies.
Of course.
How was the ceremony?
It was beautiful. It was really, really beautiful. Yeah, it's very interesting with the new format. It's, each time I come out of ceremony, it feels like the new format is so perfectly structured for the work to integrate for the people a lot easier, even though it's a tough journey nonetheless. It's a hero dose of mushrooms. But for the facilitators and the clients, it's just a foolproof system that has been integrated, and I'm very grateful for that, because there were some experiences, or for many years, where it was very difficult for me to sleep after ceremony, because I was going through every single client within ceremony space and going, okay, cool, how am I going to debrief them? What information do they still need? How are they going to get this? For me, as very much the teacher, it's like, it breaks my heart to know that someone might not get it. I really want them to understand the process. And so the new format is really awesome in the sense that, they have a full day with me. There's this, it's functional. It's good. Yeah.
It's working.
It's working. Yeah. And I'm grateful for that. And the breath work, as always, is amazing. So yeah. So yeah, it was beautiful. It was lovely and rainy in Johannesburg. To have the rain and thunder with ceremony also is amazing. Yeah.
A nice cleansing.
Yeah, beautiful cleansing. And the frequency was really, really high. It was good. It was very, very good. Yeah.
Okay, what do we
Well, I wanted to chat about, because I've been I've been up since early bells this morning, flying back to Cape Town. And obviously being in the space of many muggles, and moving through a couple of glitches this weekend as well. Just this message that I keep giving my clients is that everything is energy, everything is frequency. And I wanted to extrapolate on that in the sense that, something like you said yesterday, what people don't see, And of course, we know you're a multidimensional seer, but there is seeing in many ways. So for me, my third eye is open, but it's this intuitive, this knowing, my dream space, etc. But this message of everything is frequency. I've been thinking about it today. I feel like people just think of human beings. So it's like, here's the human being, here's the identity, here's the ego of that human being. And that is all there is. Everything else is null and void. Instead of going, okay, guys, the leaf of your plant is energy. It holds a frequency. The food on the shelf is frequency. The organic food is different to your pick and pay food. The music you listen to, the radio station, the news media channel that you listen to, the social media channels that you use, the hat that you wear. We've commented on this, the linen that you sleep in, the clothes that you wear, the country that you go to, the rock that you stand on, the cemetery that you visit, the table salt on your table. And it's just, once we have that sort of expanded view of energy, and then we link it like a beautiful cell. So it's like creating these little networks that are linking all of those things that begin to encompass your life, and then looking at that and going, right, where is my energy linked to? How many little nodules are linked to what? And how energetically clean or pure or beneficial is that link to that thing for me? And I feel like that's a really simple way of describing what energy clearing is about, how to just expand your consciousness a little bit with regards to energy and what we all consent to and how we participate with it, because again, I think human beings just stop at, okay, cool, well, I've got my family, I've got my boyfriend, and those are my energetic links. They don't think further than everything in your reality or everything that you participate in is affecting you.
Well, you're describing probably about 10%, 90% of humanity.
Yes.
10% of which fall within the category of, I would say, I'm talking energy-wise now because this is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So 10% would fall within the range of about, I would say 650 to about 1,000
human beings.
No. I'm talking about frequency-wise.
Okay.
So if we're talking energy-wise, let's say
the spectrum.
The spectrum of energy or frequency, vibration.
Yeah.
You can start from 0 and go up to 1,000.
Yeah.
So basically, anything from 0 to 100 would basically exhibit the vibration of depression or schizophrenia or and then as you go up, obviously the different vibrations are significant and represent the aspects of
being,
other aspects of being. So I would say that 10% fall within the range of 600 to 1,000, and 1,000
entire population of Earth.
Yes, and 1,000, you probably at that range 0.01%.
Yeah, and your 1,000 would be, similar classification to Christ consciousness, right?
Well, it's a sense of enlightenment. I mean, it's an aspect of, if you look at the rest of the 90% of humanity, they are basically personality, whereas the 0.01% or an aspect of the 10% is essence.
Yes. Yeah.
So there's a huge distinction there between essence and personality.
Yes, and of course, again, and I mentioned this today because I've been at the airport and just watching people, and I'm like, the discussion comes to mind, or the conversation to my mind comes in of like, is consciousness just, I mean, I know it's not all of this, but simply put, to make it simple for people, consciousness is, logical thinking. I know it's not only that, but it's like having that mental body in an empowered state to be able to see through the actions that you take in life. I just watch people like trying to find their seats on the plane, like not being considerate with how they put their bags, like they're just lost, and I'm like, this is the simple basic thing. This is simple basic stuff. Like,
well, it's personality.
Get your shit together,
So you have, to make it easier, let's say you have 7 to 9 distinctive personality types, which is 90% of humanity. Whatever personality type they are, that's what they present to the world, and it's an ongoing cycle.
Yeah.
Of hell.
Yeah. And along with this conversation was this, it's just the further analysis within where I'm at within my consciousness stream of like literally nothing is real. Nothing. Do you know what I mean? It's like this, everything I see, everything I watch is all these constructs, where I'm like, that can fall away. It's bullshit. This, if it didn't exist, would make life simpler. This would allow the human to be human. And the thing that I've been looking at most today is retail, like, I'm like, why do we need all of this stuff? And then I think of it from my time back in the day when I was in corporate, and it was sales, and it's sales driven, and it's profit driven. And this actually came to mind very specifically while I was waiting in the queue, watching an ad for watches where it was an outdoor watch, something else to do with the outdoors, and then a golf watch. And all of those had a range of like 4 watches in them. And I'm like, that company is driving the story behind needing to produce 4 different types of watches within one range. And I'm like, Jesus, we've complicated shit. I get that technology is amazing, but like, holy shit, like if we just simplified stuff, we could all really be living and feeling the elements and spending more time in the oceans, and therefore respecting the ocean more. But we're so disconnected. And retail and corporate is just like driving this thing. My worst is when I see another, what's the store? Hold on. Anyway, it's like these 5 rand stores, when I just see another one and another one and another one, and I'm like, and another franchise, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so boring. And is it necessary?
Yes, but you must remember that 90% of humanity also creates that. It keeps that going.
Of course. And that's why I'm saying we consent to the construct. But within that construct, we are simultaneously depressed. And then I look at my role, and a role like yours, and it's like, what is my role? It's to deprogram the program. We're deprogramming the mental body from these big concepts of, first of all, time, and what it is we consent to. Time, this work schedule, this craziness. And people are suicidal out there on loads of medication, trying to keep up, but simultaneously consenting to these constructs. And it's a big job to dismantle that. And I guess right before this call, I was listening to a client message, that's 12 minutes long, of what this particular being has been moving through. And yeah, it's just, and she's going, okay, cool. What can you do for me? And I'm like, well, girl, first of all, it's going to take months. This is not just a one-stop shop. We need to reprogram and retrain the brain to look from ether to earth, and begin to understand that your physical symptoms began way before, before you even understand. So it's reinstituting the story of the soul, or the message of the soul, the message of eternity, the construct of time. So anyway, that's what I've been, that's where my mind's been. And simultaneously quite tired as well. I feel like a pack horse, like a full-on gypsy, actually.
Okay, well, so you can relax now.
Thank you.
Just relax. Yeah, look, you also need to understand that the aspect.
I just want people to get it, like I'm just like, to me it's so simple, but like I see how entrapped they are, and it's like, whoa.
Well, it's an aspect of being trapped in one mindset.
Yeah.
One emotional set.
Yeah.
One belief set.
Yes.
So the scope of
unraveling.
No, the scope of experience is a constant one-sided affair.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because the
and that one-sided affair makes them feel like they have no choice in the matter.
Well, they don't feel like they have options.
Yeah.
Okay, options.
Yeah.
But options arise when you really look at the aspects of the personality and the aspects of the ego, because 90% of humanity are in that frequency because they want the foundation of that trauma. I'm going to call it trauma because it is trauma, is to be recognized.
Yes. Yeah.
Is to be recognized. So to be recognized in my relationship, my private relationships, to be recognized at work, to be recognized when I go shopping and I buy an expensive watch, or I fly business class or whatever, or I stay at the Four Seasons. But for me, now this is the difference. Now I'm talking about my experience.
Yeah.
So that might be for 90% of the population. For me, it's about the presence of what lies beneath that. So if I want to sleep, I want to sleep in 600 3-count cotton percale because I feel the deeper essence of I feel the presence, you know, or if I go to
the energy.
Yes, or if I go to a Michelin restaurant, it's not because I can say I've gone to a Michelin star restaurant.
Yes.
Or I enjoy the good things in life. I do that because it's an experience, because I experience from a deeper presence.
Yeah. You know, one of the places, one of the times that I got taught this message deeper and deeper and deeper was my time with Noxie. You know, when you walking with that woman, she will greet, she will greet everything. She'll say, okay, hello, beautiful plant. And not just oh, wow, that plant is beautiful. It's a greeting. It's an honoring. If I've got a statue somewhere, if I've got a group of shells, if I've got whatever it is, she's in full communion. And yes, we know she too is a multidimensional activated being, but it was so deep to watch her and be like, wow, she is literally communing with the spirit of everything, because sometimes I think on your spiritual path, you may only recognize the spirit in that which we classify as spiritual. So our mushrooms and our ayahuasca and our beautiful crystals and a lovely pendants and all these things. But it's like, no, it is literally in
everything.
Everything is vibrating at a frequency and is energy, and actually I shat my I shat my clients out the other day at ceremony. So it was break time. I was in the temple just prepping my playlist or whatever, and I heard the word serial killer outside, and you know me, Mama B, and I just walked out. I said, excuse me, what did I say to you guys? Everything is frequency. Do not bring that in. This is holy land. This is a temple. You are bringing it in. You're calling that in. And they were just like, and I think that's a nice example of, I'm not saying someone's going to come down the road, down the hill there at the farm and start, doing whatever they do. But it's much like how you don't want to talk about black magic on the thing. It's and when you look at it in this aspect, it's going, wow, okay, cool. Maybe I shouldn't be talking about that. Maybe I shouldn't be gossiping. Maybe I shouldn't be watching this on Netflix. What am I interacting with, and how am I interacting with it?
Okay, but if you have, my question to you is, if you have 90% of the population, okay, that basically are in this wormhole of, I've got to get the right word here.
Distortion.
It is distortion because you keep on, it's almost like you self-sabotage. So I'm just going to take an example now. Let's say you're in a relationship and you have a fight, and then the one person comes and says, okay, I'm sorry. And then the other person says, okay, but walks out the room and slams the door quite hard.
Yeah.
That's giving the message to the other person, okay, the apology is not good enough for me.
Yeah.
And all these interactions, whether it's on a social scale, or in a private scale, when I say private, in your interpersonal relationships, if you look deep within, the aspect is, if you go through all the layers, you go down to the truth of the matter is, the question is, have you seen me?
Yeah, they haven't been seen.
Have you seen me? And it's a distortion, because it's a continuous affair with the same beliefs and the same thoughts and the same reactivity. So you like in this wormhole of reactivity, and it's you're not really, you're going up and down, so you're fluctuating. So one day you're going to feel good because this person greeted you, and the next day you're going to feel upset and angry because I don't know, somebody didn't greet you in the lift, or there's so many things, but basically this is the aspect of humanity. They want to be seen. They want to be recognized.
Yeah. And I was also thinking today, like way back when I started my business, I was doing, business coaching and all of these things, and going to these seminars, et cetera. And one of the distinctions between the different coaching was transactional coaching versus transformational coaching. And your transformational coaching is really, your energy, your attitude, your psychology behind making a business work. So it's like, what do we need to shift in terms of our belief system to make this business work? Your transactional is awesome. We've got this business. Okay, cool. How do we gain more profit, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I think, our lives have been so transactional, and everyone's forgotten about the transformational. And it's like the emotional IQ of most people is quite low. And then when recognition begins to filter in, because decades of depression is like, okay, I need to start looking at this. It's like, it's quite overwhelming for them to then unravel these traumas. And it's, Earth is a place of, they call it PTSD, but it's permanent. It's like permanent stress disorder, that human beings are in. Anyway, so those have been my thoughts today.
Yeah, look, the aspect of transmutation and moving from a frequency of 250. I would say that the majority of humanity now are sitting at 200, which is 90% of them.
Yeah.
So, the responsibility of humanity to evolve to that higher vibration is an aspect that, just give me a sec. It stems from self-care, from a self-care perspective, not from a narcissistic perspective, because I think most of humanity are narcissists in a sense. They either like we were talking about the empath. We were talking in our last episode about how the empath basically becomes a narcissist upon themselves, but what I'm trying to say here is that humans are selfish.
Yeah.
Because there's a difference between selfishness and bordering on narcissism than self-care. Self-care is an essential aspect of looking at oneself, at one's mental fluidity, of one's emotional fluidity,
Yeah.
of one's physical fluidity, and one's spiritual fluidity.
Yeah.
That's self-care. Well, that's how I perceive it.
Mm.
Self-care is looking at those aspects and saying, okay, how is the world affecting me, and how am I affecting the world?
Yes.
Is
Yes.
it
What
how
impact am I making in every moment?
yes, and how is that serving not only myself,
Yes.
but humanity, the world
Yeah.
at large? Because
Yeah.
a lot of people now are all for me.
Yeah.
Me, 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 me.
Yeah.
Me, 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 me.
That brings it back to the
Me.
transactional. It's been like
Yeah.
me, my money, my bank account, my
Me,
this,
me.
that, my kids, my
Me,
husband,
me.
this. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, you know,
And
that's a
patriarchy. That's
well,
the
you
program.
can call it whatever you want.
You call it selfish.
But it's it is an aspect of selfishness. Now, there's a difference between selfishness and self-care.
Yeah.
If, for example, you know your body, you know how your mind works, how your body works, how energy influences you, and how you influence energy out there.
Mm.
And you are drained, and people are draining you, or you've just exhausted, and you say, no, I need time out, I don't want to see anybody. That's not selfishness. That's self-care.
Of course. Of course.
When you are preparing yourself, not only preparing, but you are motivating. I'm going to use some words here, third dimensional words. When you are preparing, when you are motivating, when you are receptive, when you really start to dissect the influences in your life, and you're making an effort to move up the frequency ladder, that is self-care.
Yes.
Because as you move up, you are becoming more of an essence than a personality.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are getting more, you are
Your true
moving
self
more,
versus your ego self. Yeah.
you are moving more towards the truth of your essence.
And outside of the stories, because this was also my thing of like, how do I, like I said in this video, it's like I just want people to get it. Like, and of course, if we just keep talking spiritual terms, it's almost impossible. The gap is too big on that frequency ladder. So for me, one of the ways I've explained it before is like, look at the storyline, like look at everything as a story. Like, what story are you reading? What story are you entangled in? How does the ending of your story look with regards to, the the school committee story, the community WhatsApp group story, like the legal case story? Like, how is it ending for you? Like, how juicy is your book? How much how much do you want to carry on reading this book?
Look, it's also an aspect of perception.
Of course.
But that's dependable on if you have a personality. Everybody has a personality. But those that have incorporated 9 personalities in the sense of
and could we call these personalities archetypes?
You can, yes. There we go. You can call them archetypes.
Yeah.
I'm just using this in a third dimensional plane because people will understand that. So I am, let's, for example, use the tarot. I understand what it means to be the hangman as much as I do the emperor or the queen of swords or the king of cups. So, but humanity, the 90%, focus on one card. There's, I don't know how many cards in the deck. So if you're focusing on one card, the hangman, or whatever, your perspective is very limited. And that's 90% of humanity.
Yeah. Do you read tarot?
I do.
Cool.
Yes.
Come do a pool for us.
Not today.
Okay.
I'll do one.
On the show.
Yeah.
Be cool.
On the show, yeah.
Can you do, I mean, I know I see people online doing collective, reads for the collective. Can you do a collective tarot read?
I can, yes. But I'll pull it before we start.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Of course.
But I mean, I know there's some fabulous tarot readers on online. Those that are, because I also look at them.
Cool.
And out of the thousands, there's maybe 3 that I listen to.
Nice.
Yeah.
Also, what came up for me today, just as a thought, was remember how we were going to go on that trip to Egypt? And
yes.
then, you got told, no, and I had to do all that work. That was actually when I first learned how to body check, which is actually a good topic for today as well, because, I was saying to my clients over the weekend, whether you are understanding things as energy or not, or, and when you're at the basics, your body is going to tell you everything.
Yeah, you want to give a bit of context to that so that people understand.
Yeah, so myself and Justine were supposed to go on a trip to Egypt 2008, 17, 18.
No, 2019.
Really?
Yes,
Okay.
and I went to France instead.
Okay, yeah. And basically it was this tour group, but I wanted to, I just want to sit and meditate and activate at the temples. So I'd like my spiritual master teacher with me. And then she was like, no, been told I can't go. And it was a 2-for-1 ticket. So
it was an awesome trip, but it was just the message. I was actually sitting on the toilet. I was in Cape Town.
Yes, I remember that.
Do you remember that?
I remember you said
I was sitting on the toilet when it came through.
Who brought it through?
People from ancient Egypt.
Okay. What is the reasoning? Are you allowed to divulge now that it's passed? It's just a safety or timing thing.
It was a timing thing.
It's interesting. I feel like it would be, I don't know why it popped into my space today again. It's like, oh, I know why it popped into my space.
Okay, you were talking about the body talk, the body language.
Oh, yeah. But so it was the body talk of, whether you understand energy or not, and what to me seems like a simple concept from my perspective, my reality. The greatest thing you could do is, use the pendulum or begin to body check. And at that Egypt time was when I first started body checking, and holy shit, because now I've got this ticket, I'm not going with the person that I was planning to go with. You can only get the special deal of a 2-for-1 if you're with 2 of you. And I was like body checking, and I was getting yeses and no's and yeses and no's and just doubting my body checks. But yeah, eventually I was also like, no, just leave the money. I'm not going.
Yeah, we lost the money there.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's fine.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've had a ticket to Mexico / the States for the second part of my Breathwork Facilitators course right before COVID as well, and there was like a 32 grand ticket, which now travel starts just don't get back to me.
Yeah.
And that's the ticket that I may use to get to Europe, but I'm also like, I don't know when I'm going to Europe, so I may lose that money as well. It's chill, This too flows and passes.
So to get back to
Egypt.
No, not Egypt. We'll go to Egypt. We're gonna go to lots of places. Don't worry.
Okay.
But
is
the aspect
before your premonition of your own death?
Sorry?
Is this before your premonition of your own death? Are we physically going to Egypt or just talking about it?
No, we're going to Egypt.
Okay, cool.
Oh, and the premonition of my own death. Yes, that was strange. It came, like I said, it came through. I think on Thursday, last week Thursday.
Yeah.
Where it wasn't a vision; it was a premonition of being buried at the cemetery in New York.
So how would you describe the difference between a vision and a premonition?
Well, a vision I see.
Okay.
A premonition is how do I explain this? Because you'll know the difference.
Yeah.
In the energy, in the frequency.
Okay.
It's the same when I went to London with my mother. She wasn't well. Anyway, she wanted to go on this last trip, so she went back to her home country, Italy, for the last visit. And we popped over in London. And when we were at Harrods, like I said, when we were standing at the olive section, because Italians love olives, so we were at the olive section, the first section we went to.
Yeah.
And I had a premonition. I'm going to be working here, but specifically, it was interesting because it was at that counter. It was a special counter that only the very esteemed get to work at.
Okay.
At Harrods, you don't easily get into that. Into that section where you work.
Yeah.
But the premonition that came through was that I will be working at Harrods, but it worked out that I actually worked at that specific counter.
Okay.
Yeah, after a few months of them seeing how I worked, they invited me in. Just quite a prestigious thing.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's the difference. It's not a vision, it's a premonition where you just know.
Okay.
So I had this premonition of, I mean, obviously when I die, when I'm older, but that's where I'm going to be buried.
Yeah.
That was the premonition that came through. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have premonition in dream space? Do you even dream? I mean, I know that sounds weird, but you're so active in multidimensionally.
Yeah, not really, hey?
Yeah, because for me, I feel like I have premonition in dream space.
Okay. Yeah, it varies for different people. So I mean, I'll get a lot of my information when I'm awake.
Yes, in the waking.
Like last night, when we were driving back from you.
Yes.
We were on the highway coming into Johannesburg and coming towards Empire Turnoff.
Yeah.
And there was this Audi that came up next to Carolina, and I just felt the energy of the people in there, and I just said to her, just go.
Yeah.
So most of my work, or most of my information is when I'm awake, and it could happen at any time. When I go to bed, I sleep.
Yeah.
That's my restful period, unless I start seeing the dead.
Yeah.
That I do, but then I'll see the dead, but then I'll wake up.
Yeah.
You know, but I like to, when I go to sleep, I like to sleep. I like to rest, because a great part of my life, my waking life, is everything else and in between.
Yeah.
So I rest when I sleep.
May I ask a question? So when you visit me in dreams, so this time period that we haven't seen each other for hundreds of years, and I mean your dream interact when you're astrally in my space, it's as if you are, I mean, it's lucid. I know it's a meeting. It's a meeting. Are you like, is that just the astral body of your astral body doing what it needs, or are you like, okay, cool, I'm checking in on Briggs?
No,
in a time period.
Yes, but that's like, it's automatic with me.
Yeah.
I don't need to think about it, because normally if I have like a lot of work to do on the global plane, I'll divide myself up.
Yes.
Into like, I'll divide myself up.
I guess I kind of know the answer, because it was interesting before ceremony. One of the light workers, before we flew to Cape Town, she's like, oh, I dreamt of you. Then the next night before ceremony, oh, I dreamt of you again. I dreamt of us in ceremony. Then I get to ceremony, 4 of my clients, they were like, I dreamt of you last night. So, and when I'm not in people's ceremonies and they're doing work, they always tell me, you were there, you were right there. And I'm like, yeah, well.
Yeah, look, at a higher level, you need to understand that the aspects of your essence will be where it's meant to be, and that obviously happens for you, I think, also a lot in your dream space.
Yeah.
Where aspects of yourself will present to others just to let them know, or whether it's a message or whatever the case may be. So yeah, I can do that if I'm sitting up here now, or like when I did protection for you at the ceremony. I was awake. I was sitting up. That's why I said to you, if you see the aspect of this sign that comes in, I didn't tell you why, because I didn't want to. I didn't want to interrupt the energy frequency. I just gave you, okay, if you see this, then let me know.
Yeah.
So that's because Carolina said to me last night, oh, did you enjoy ceremony? So I said, well, an aspect of my energy was there. That's why I say you can divide yourself up.
Yes.
An aspect of your energy is there. The star representing that.
Yes.
But I'm like doing my own thing.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Like a fractal. A fractal that's been that you're like, okay, this fractal of protection, which is an aspect of me, is going to be present there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I could be doing your protection with whatever I'm doing there. Then I could be working on a grid for somebody that's in Europe.
Yes.
I could be sitting and having lunch here in Johannesburg.
Yeah.
I could be working on another aspect of alien forms there.
Yeah.
So it's dependable also on the aspect of energy that you give out.
And I mean, does this teeter towards the title of Ascended Master? It's this like multi-locational presence of the self with conscious understanding that that presence is in each of those locations.
Yes. But remember that the term Ascended Master for me is one that I use, for example, for Buddha.
Yes.
Or Kuan Yin or Merlin.
Yes.
Because they are of such a high vibration.
Yes.
That they are present yet
etheric.
Yes.
Yeah.
That for me is the term Ascended Master, because they've gone through so many levels.
Yeah.
And the levels are not easy. You have gone through all those levels, and then you have returned to back into the aspect of the whole, if that makes sense. So Ascended Master is a very it is a title that is not easily granted or given, should I say.
What's really interesting, I actually want to share this with you, is there's this beautiful site that is from, I think it's a couple of light workers in New Zealand, and it's called alphaimaging.co.nz, so New Zealand. And it's like the Ascended Masters portal. And I often get a lot of information there. You know, it moves through the initiation stages of one on Earth, moving through the Ascension timeline, etc., etc. And based on the energetic shift that we've all been going through, there are now new Ascended Masters on that list that I presume have been incarnated on Earth in the physical, have now passed on and have gained Ascended Master status or label or whatever. So that is quite interesting, you know, because I think, again, when people get stuck in dogma and don't realize that evolution is ongoing, and therefore, of course, there will be a new group of ascended masters coming in through the eons, you know.
There is a new group.
Yes.
So it's constantly evolving.
Yeah.
But I think the aspects of ascended mastery will obviously relate to certain individuals in terms of the current ones that are known. For example, like
Jesus.
Buddha, Jesus, Krishna, Kuan Yin, Merlin, whatever. Because there's a certain connection there. So if there's a connection there, it's important that you listen to that. But there are definitely new ascended masters that are on the list, and those that are on the list or that have been on the list will kind of like moved on in a sense.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, because it's like from what I remember reading, and this was quite some time ago, but it was like there are actually, I don't want to say very few, but if I remember correctly, there were like very few that were working very specifically with Earth. You know, the rest have moved on to, you know,
other issues.
Other things within the galactic spectrum. Without explaining in the best way that I can.
Yes.
So I guess the point I'm trying to make is like, where, you know, Jesus may have before been the guy to very much focused on Earth's consciousness and its people, his role may have changed in the office of Source, and for us to keep fluid in our belief systems.
Look, I think if it's important to the individual because it brings a sense of faith.
Yes.
And hope, and that keeps an aspect of high vibration in a sense.
Of course.
But it's also dependable on the dogma that's attached to that.
Yes.
You know, because within that dogma is also a restrictiveness.
Yes.
So like I say, you will only, even though you've got 65 cards in front of you, you will only focus on the hangman. And you will say, no, I'm not interested in the rest. I'm not interested in knowing what they represent. I'm not interested in what they stand for. I'm not interested in the influence or the expansion that they offer, or and also the shadow side, because each tarot card also has a shadow side. So, and that is an important aspect of evolution. You need to be able to embrace the shadows of everything, because that is the presence of
integration.
And it's understanding.
And this is what's so interesting about being single now, right? So and I'll keep bringing this up because it's what I'm dealing with and what I'm living with, and it's actually quite awesome, like especially because time is dissolving now and time is speeding up, and you know, watching very particularly relationships. I think I'd be a great relationship coach as well, but it's like, you know, in the past you'd be in a relationship, and this stands true for many people, but you'd be in a relationship, and that lovey-dovey you know, honeymoon stuff can go on for 3-4 years, you know, based on where time was, where consciousness was, where the construct was at a certain point in time, until the shadow aspects need to kick in. And that's where you really see where your relationship is sitting and how you guys are dealing with things, and can you integrate both and come back to this happy medium of understanding that, oh shit, we are both of these things as the construct in this relationship. But now it's so interesting because if you're going to date me, I'm going to go not straight in, but very quickly into digging up your shadows and being like, you know, I need to know, there's no time here.
Yes.
And we need to work with it, and you've got to heal it, you know, like I've done a lot of work. I'm not saying I'm
no, you've done a lot of work. You've done a lot of work.
But you know, I've certainly understand the shadow, whereas most people don't even know what that means.
Yes, but just look at that then. You see, so people get together, like you say, and there's a honeymoon phase, sometimes not even for 3 years. Sometimes it's for 6 months.
Yeah.
And then you've got a hangman,
initiation,
a hangman, and a queen of swords. Okay, these are the personalities.
Yeah.
Okay, now shit starts happening after 3 years, after the honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
And the hangman is saying, no, I married the Queen of Swords. I'm not interested in your other 65 personalities.
Yes.
And the Queen of Swords is saying, but let's give this a chance. Or, I would love to see the variances of how you relate on every aspect, because that's important not only for me to understand, but also to grow.
Yes, I was going to say the growth in that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because if I can accept you as you are now, and we can move through this journey of self-exploration and self-discovery, self-care,
and expansion,
then we can do anything.
Yes.
We can create anything as individuals, because we support one another on that journey.
Yes.
We support not only the bright side, but the dark side, which I love the aspects. Okay, there is duality when you say the bright side and the dark side, but there's a presence there that is interconnected, that you would not be able to see the one without the other.
Yes.
And that's important to remember. You would know, because everybody now, like you say, this person that you were talking to, okay, I'm experiencing this. Okay, where do we go to from now? And you're saying it's going to take months. A lot of people in society today, everything is a quick fix, especially with the growth of technology. You can order a burger and it can, arrive here in 20 minutes. You can, order Ferrari online and it can be here in 28 days.
Yeah.
And, now I can go onto an app and look at 6,000 different people to see if I'm interested in them, and then I contact them straight away and decide straight away or not straight away. So that aspect of self-gratification.
Yes.
In like, I want to know now, and I don't want to look at the shadow side. I don't want to feel the pain. I don't want to move through the pain. I really don't want to understand. I just want to fix, so that I can feel better about myself. But that's an illusion.
Of course. And this is where psychedelics and plant medicine come in. It's like, mushrooms and heroin are classified under the same schedule as highly addictive in nature. And it's like, mushrooms is the furthest thing from being highly addictive. Why? Because it shows you your shadow, and you have to sit with that and try and integrate it first, So and within this relationship scope as well, it's just interesting, because I'm like,
well, look, I mean, it's also your perception. Like I say, it always comes down to your perception. Like we were talking about the panel pin the other day.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. The hangman is the hangman.
Yeah.
It's like, that's my only truth.
Yes.
I don't want to look at the rest of the world and what the world's going through, because it's too painful for me.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have to deal with that shit. I just want to focus on myself and my panel pin.
Yeah.
And that's going to make me happy.
Yeah.
That's going to make me feel secure in where I stand, because I have control over that. I have control in telling you where my panel needs to go and how many you need to put in. I have the control over that. So
and this is a comment that I always use in ceremony. I say, most people are afraid to move through this experience and therefore many experiences in life, because they're afraid to lose control under the guise that they had control to begin with.
Yeah. But that's
that's right back to the first part of this recording of like the mental body thinks it knows all, but actually it's like whew.
No, well, you can only traverse. You can only make that exchange, right? Because in the greater scheme of things, if you look at how if you can start with one vision, right, or one thought process, it's an aspect of, and this happens not only in a personal aspect, but a social aspect on a global scale. It's about reciprocation.
Yes, the law of reciprocity.
Yes, so you have to give to the universe.
Yes.
You have to give of yourself, and the universe will give back. But a lot of humanity are not willing to come halfway.
Yeah, because it's that self-gratification state, which is that transactional stuff all the time instead of moving into transformation. Yeah.
And I expect that of the universe as well. It's like, okay, I'm not happy. I want this, so bring it to me. And the universe is saying, no, you have to meet me halfway. And it's as above, so below. It's the law of
reciprocity.
Reciprocity.
Yeah.
You have to give of yourself, which means that you have to take that step. The courage, you have to find the courage to take the step, to open Pandora's box.
Yes. Good old
and then the universe will say, okay.
Yeah.
We are in accordance with one another.
Yeah.
I will give back.
Yeah. And I mean, coming to the end here, I know we're flitting in and out of the Egypt topic there, but I'd like to discuss Egypt next time.
Yes, sure.
Because we've gone into you having moved to the vaults of the Vatican, etc., etc. And then I thought, Egypt is another one I want to ask you about, the underground tunnels and lost. And actually, I don't know where I was watching this, but I was thinking like, I wonder if I should go into like archaeology or something. I'm like, so, I mean, obviously, and I laugh at myself because when I wanted to study, I was like, I could do architecture, I could do law, I could do this, I could do that, and that's all my past life stuff. But then like ancient archaeology was also like, wow, this is fascinating. But yeah.
Yeah, look, I mean, you don't have to be an archaeologist to.
Of course. To travel and explore.
To travel and explore.
And download the information.
Well, yeah.
How important do you think is it to be at a location like Egypt versus just meditating your way there? For someone like me.
For someone like you. I think the ground holds a certain frequency.
Yeah.
So I would say for
activations.
For everyone, I think it will have a very distinctive experience. Obviously not for the muggles because they're stuck in this this wormhole of one dimensional ecstasy.
Yes.
It's a one-way trip to going nowhere.
Yeah, a one-way trip to go gratification.
Yeah, going nowhere. But I think, no, I can definitely say that the aspects of frequency
are heightened when you are on location.
Are essential.
Yeah.
And what activations or downloads you receive there, or what information or what visions you see is another aspect. I just remember a great part of it was a lot of people go on about Egypt, but for me, the slavery was not cool.
No. Yeah.
Same as in the.
We forget that even before Egypt, we've been a slave planet for fucking ever.
Yeah, so that was not cool.
Yeah.
So a lot of people have a high regard for Egypt, and yes, there is a frequency there and aspects of portals and huge turbines. of energy.
But
for me, it was the slavery was not cool.
No,
and it's the same today. A minimum of the population exceed and have excessive wealth.
Yeah.
It was the same in Egypt.
Yeah. Nothing has changed, guys. This is what Justine keeps saying about humanity.
No, but I know through the history of time.
Yeah.
So and I even look at World War II with Hitler. I mean, that was all about power. He wanted to rule the world. And what happened during the Second World War was with the Jews was terrible, as in Egypt times. So it's for me it's catastrophic, because humans have evolved to a certain degree, yes,
but not at all.
But there's still that only 0.1% that are basically enlightened in a sense.
Yeah.
And that speaks volumes.
Yeah, it does. What have we, with all the ancient, all the this, all the that, what have we gained? But we'll end there.
Yeah. Okay. So
thank you.
Okay, Briggs, get some rest, my love.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching Galactic Conversations.
Love you guys. Bye.
Okay. Ciao.